Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Somebody commented on the YouTube that we had some big ass chairs or something like that.
Big ass chairs.
They are. I rock with them though. I feel like next episode we keep saying we're gonna do something. I feel like the jerseys need to go up or something.
This is the OG though. Like is this not just like a season 1 like preset right here though?
And that'd be good because the hats came in like on the 3rd episode.
How many episodes are in the season though? We ain't even discussed that.
We'll discuss that later.
That's after the cut. Man, let's get a little intro going, man.
Come on now. Welcome everybody to the Get Back podcast. I'm your host Damian Dusten here with
Ayden Jones. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
And today is a special edition of the Get Back podcast, as it's going to be our exclusive NBA edition, where we're only going to be discussing hoops for about the next 45 minutes to an hour. First of all, I just want to start off with some important stuff.
What's up? What you got?
We jumped into let's take a step back before the playoffs. We had the play-in tournament. I don't really want to grasp too much on it because I think the whole plan is stupid.
And we had some historical stuff happen though with first 10 to go, which is kind of crazy, I guess.
But okay, so we won't even go that far back. We'll go to the last playing game. We'll go Bulls, Miami. Did that surprise you that Miami was able to pull that out, or?
I won't say so, only because I think the only reason they were in that spot is because how bad of that streak that they had. I think they had like a 0-10 streak kind of leading to like the All-Star game. So I think that was kind of just a bounce back for them to go into the 10th seed. And then, of course, they were able to knock them off. So I'm not necessarily surprised. I think
so you think their record doesn't reflect how good they actually are? Because I would agree with you. I like where you're going there.
I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, you look after that 0-10 streak, they went 9-2 for the last.
And was that
games.
simply a losing Jimmy, or was it?
I don't think about losing Jimmy. I think they just had to figure out exactly where their team was at. I think Spo was probably a little bit confused of who really needs to have that ball, whether it's Bam or Tyler. And I think Tyler kind of proved his point that he is the ball handler. Like he's their number one right now.
Absolutely.
So I think once they figured it out,
I think the ball genuinely just needs to run through Bam, though. I think we've heard people say that Bam is much more talented than what we see on the court. I think his defense underrated for his size. I think he's a great playmaker. If you were just to load them up with, a better version of Duncan Robinson, I thought Clay would have been a great acquisition last offseason. They obviously didn't do that. But if you would have put them around a all-star level shooter, I mean, that changes the entire.
So like, you think that Bam is like their number one? Like, you think going into the playoffs, they should look at Bam as like their go-getter?
I think so. I think I think he should be. He should be more aggressive, especially against Cleveland, to try to maybe get one of those guys in foul trouble.
I feel like that'd be so much tougher though, with like, because you have to think about it. Tyler Hero, I think Darius Garland and Don, they're okay on defense as a backcourt, but I think Tyler can find some open spots at least a little bit where he can drive at least a little 20-25. Bam, you got to go against Jared and Evan. Now, it's a defensive player of the year candidate. I'll say candidate over there. So it's tough. That's tough for him to at least be more aggressive than he has been, at least.
Absolutely. And I see the direction you're going. I see you're going Cleveland Cavaliers, Miami. Obviously, that's the 1 versus the 8th in the East. You, as somebody who has paid very close attention to the Cavaliers this year, for obvious reasons, what can actually Miami do to give Cleveland trouble?
That's what I'm saying. I think if they can actually space out, we still have to think about the piece that they got. You give away Jimmy, you still got an Andrew Wiggins that's a very
and has proven to be a good playoff performer.
I'm not going to say he's a great player, but the way that he always knows how to fit into his role, at least where he can knock down his shots. He knows how to get to his spots, and it's not a bad player, at least to come into his role. So I think
he's the Michael Jordan of Harrison Barnes.
I won't say MJ. I'll say like he's like
he's the best version of Harrison Barnes ever. Much more athletic. He always gets a dunk in the year. He always gets a good dunk.
Harrison Barnes is still the best Harrison Barnes out there. I know you saw his game winner a couple weeks ago. The man's almost 40.
Rudy Gay. No, Rudy Gay is. That's a conversation for later, though.
Let's get past that. But either way, I think if Andrew Wiggins can possibly play his role right, Tyler Hero, like I said, finds that open spot where maybe you catch Darius slipping, or maybe even when Ty Jerome comes in. Like I said, like it's not that they're terrible defenders, but Tyler got a little swing to his rock where he can shimmy someone down if he has to.
I think too, the one thing that Tyler's definitely going to have to improve on is his turnovers. His turnovers per game have gone up tremendously over the
And it's
past
a lot of
5
it's a lot of
games.
cross court passes too. Like say like if he
Exactly. He's
dribbles
just
wrong, he just
I
gives
think
it up.
he's playing too free
Yeah.
without Jimmy being there. And I think he really needs to hone in on his ability to be a better
Which
playmaker and ball handler.
I think also when people at least get that first stint of being the player, like I said, I think even Bam is a good player. I still think that Spo has put it in terms where Tyler is their main player, at least for the moment. This is his first. I mean, unless you talk about injuries, where probably Jimmy was out for a little bit, but this is like his first stint for months going where he's the number one player.
Where he's
So
the
I
number one
think
option. Which is crazy.
everybody kind of has to go through that little stint where they have to learn how to be that scorer and that playmaker. So he gonna learn, I think.
Now, realistically, Cavaliers are probably most likely going to advance and win that series. How many games do they win that series? And you believe?
Miami Heat, feet, beat, Smeet.
Whoa.
We're not even gonna talk about sleep. Cavs in 5.
And 5. Oh, so you think Miami gets one? They get one little
That's what I'm saying. It maybe Tyler and Bam put up a combination of maybe like 62 or like a 65.
70,
Yeah,
maybe even a 70
it got to
game.
be something like that. It
And
it
they
don't got to
take
be
a
the
win.
first game.
Okay.
I think maybe like that. Like it could be like maybe 2-1, and then we just take care of them. I guess in 5. We just
Okay. I
take
like
care
that.
of them in 5.
And for Cleveland moving forward into the progression of the playoffs, because obviously they're heavy favorites to be in the Eastern Conference Finals against, presumably, we would assume Boston. When you see them advancing, who's going to be the most important player for Cleveland in order to reach the ceiling that they're projected, which is the NBA Finals?
That's a hard question because I feel like it can go either way. Most I think would say Donovan Mitchell, which I think just him actually being our superstar, knowing that he has to make those shots, because he has a couple games where he can only give you about 18, where it's just a rough game. Like he can't get to the foul line.
It's 6 for 17 shooting. It's something.
It'll always be at least one of those games. So I know we're gonna get at least one of those games throughout this whole play, or at least maybe 2 throughout this playoff run.
Yeah.
Darius Garland got to be on that. Darius Garland has to make sure that, and I'm not saying that it's his duty, but he has a responsibility to make sure Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are involved. I think DeAndre Hunter or anybody in that forward kind of role can get their own. I think Okoro, he comes in for nice defense, but
And I think
for something to happen is got to be with Mobley and Jared getting that ball from Dookie.
And I think that's probably the one flaw of Cleveland, because Cleveland's probably one of the best teams. Their 5 cannot create for himself. And we see deep into the playoffs when we look at these other guys who can create for themselves, like we'll take, oh my God, Hartenstein, Miles Turner, Brooke Lopez, like all these
Pascal,
all these 5s
yeah.
can create for themselves. But then Jared Allen's the guy that you dish out to, which he's a very underrated playmaker. I will say he's a good passer.
I think it's also a little different though, because I think his defense is a little bit better than half those people that you just mentioned.
Absolutely, but being able to create for yourself at the 5 is super important, and I think that's the one flaw that if they run into, it's because they're identifying that problem. But like I said, I don't think Cleveland will run into that problem until maybe the Eastern Conference or maybe the semis, depending on if they play a healthy Bucks team, or because right now, I think outside of Boston, when we look at other teams, they're the most threatening. The Bucks
they are when they're healthy. I feel like just like anytime one player goes out, whether it's Giannis or Dame, completely goes wrong. I don't know if y'all saw it. Kyle Kuzma had a little Tony Snow game yesterday. 0, 0, 0. Like I don't, man, just straight cardio.
Yeah,
which is Dame hurts. Like no Dame simply
which he should
hurts.
be coming back. Game 2 or 3, and I like where we're going. We're going into our next.
Is that not too soon? Nah, let's break this down, bro. I get the other players are like 7 foot or like Chris Bosh or like Victor. So it's very soon for him to be coming back after a little blood clot, man. Less than a month.
And what I think it obviously probably wasn't as serious as his Wemby's for him to be able to come back. And I think he just took the treatment. He did the necessary things he had to do, because I think he made it really important that he wanted to play in this series after not having him last year.
It's very important, but
it's very important, and I think he'll be all right.
You got to be careful because I hope you know a lot of players can not force their way into a recovery, but they can definitely push a button where they can say that they're okay.
But after the
Dame's one
whooping
of
that
those
the
players
Indiana
that
Pacers put on the Bucks,
and I
he's
know you saw
going
the
to have
talking. You
to
see the
make his
talking that they
return.
had, him and Hallie?
Yes,
They
I
was
did.
talking.
So there
Yeah,
is
they
some
was
beef
talking,
there.
yeah.
I feel like we always get the better games from the Eastern Conference, I feel like the past couple of years, but the Western Conference, but the East just gives so much more
I
drama
think yeah,
with
it's
the
just
players,
it's
I
not even
think.
it's just they're just more grimy. I think that like even you look at Pistons and Knicks, it's just grimy teams. It's teams that's like more on the factory city side as you would say. They're more dirty. They got to go get it a little bit more. I say you look at maybe like a Nuggets or Clippers. I don't think it's gonna be as dirty as like a Knicks or Pistons or even a Boston or Celtics. Like
Yeah.
it can get a little physical over there.
So obviously, you have Giannis scoring 36 points to go along with
Yeah.
12 boards, 2 blocks. What do you make of Giannis's performance in the loss? Because we really saw him try to wield his team as much as he can. Is this more of a Dame issue, or is this more of the other guy's issue?
Can't say it's a Dame issue. I think it's just the bench's issue. The bench doesn't help him at all. I think even if you have one player out, Giannis, at least from what we have seen before in his past previous prime years, he can carry a team by himself. I don't think that he needs like a specific number 2 player where it's just like, okay, I need you to score. Giannis can carry somebody. No way his team doesn't give him any effort at all. Like you gotta have somebody at least knocking down shots if I pass it to you, or like say if I
Absolutely.
go off to the bench, it can't just be a straight blowout every time. Like
Absolutely.
that's not going to win you nothing.
So obviously you see Giannis, of course, had that 36 points. How about the superstar on the other side, on the winning side, Tyrese Halliburton, only having 10 points, but getting 12 assists to really show that he's that true point guard. What do you think this was a fluke that they won with him only scoring 10? And is he going to have to increase his scoring?
I can't say that. I can't say that because you almost look at what he did last year. The Bucks was also the first team which Dame was playing in that game where he got his first triple double in a playoff game. That was his first triple double ever in a playoff game. So I think he knows what he's doing. I think in that game, if you saw him watch, he didn't have to do all the scoring. When Pascal's shooting almost at that high percentage and giving you basically a almost triple dub against the Bucks, not necessarily you don't have to do as much, but you have some help out to not pressure yourself. There's no reason to take that many shots. If your team is still winning, you got somebody else that's knocking down shots.
Absolutely. Like Pascal, Miles Turner, and Nimhart,
Yeah.
when you got those guys basically combining for over 60 points,
Right.
I mean, that's in itself, you're bound to win.
That's like I promise you.
You're bound to win because those other guys are really stepping up. I like what Benedict Mathurin did, having 13 points. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but he still provided a spark and of energy. So when we go back, I want to go back to the Bucks side really quick. The Bucks are no longer favorited to win this series. And now with the return of Dame coming back, where do you see this series going?
Like I said, I don't think it's about Dame or Giannis. I think it's their bench. Let's generally look at what they're starting, like what their starters did. Kyle Kuzma 0 points, Giannis 36, Brooke Lopez 9 points, Terrence Prince 0 points, Rollins 5 points.
5.
Look at their bench. The only two
Kevin Porter. I like Kevin Porter Jr.
Kevin
though.
Porter Jr., Gary Trent, and AJ Green did their thing. Their starters give them nothing, and obviously their starters
Exactly, I agree.
gave them minutes too. Like that's 20 plus minutes that you're giving people. That's giving you nothing out there.
So where do you see this series going?
I think if the Bucks do win it, it'll have to go to a game 6 or 7. I think they like the Pacers will get at least one more, even when Dame comes back. I think they at least get one more. I think so. I think once again, I think it will be a game where Tyrese will have more than 10 points. And good thing about Tyrese is that he'll get the 20 or 25, whatever, and still have that same amount of assists. So
absolutely,
it can go either way. I think it will be possibly Bucks in 6, or I'm like I don't know. Yeah, I say Bucks in 6.
Bucks in 6. Give me Indiana in 7. Believe it or not, I think Indiana in 7.
Not a bad take.
So moving on to the other Eastern Conference game that we got to see last night, which was a treat for about the first 39 minutes, and then towards the end, it really just got an onslaught from there. Detroit Pistons against the number 3 New York Knicks, with Cade Cunningham scoring 21 points, 12 assists, Jalen Brunson 34 and 8. What did the Knicks do right? to overcome the Pistons' grit.
Simply space the floor.
Spacing the floor.
All their players got a good touch for that ball. Like everybody was able to actually get a feel for the ball, and you still had Jalen Brunson with the hot hand. I don't like that fourth quarter for them to go on a 21 and overrun. You know, he dissed me with the State Farm too. That's how you rolling, bro.
My bad.
My opposition. All
My
right,
bad.
I feel like you getting down, but like I was saying, Jalen Brunson for them, because obviously I think he was the main part of that 21 and over run in that fourth quarter. That's deep. That's deep for you to not give them anything, but you shut them out.
Yeah.
And Jalen Brunson literally scored 10 points in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop that. Like when he has that actual light on and it's green up here, he's barbecue.
Best,
like,
one of the best.
Like you said, I think you said it, top 3 point guards.
He's
in
the
the
top
league.
3 point guard in the
and when
league.
he gets like that, top 2 possibly. When he gets like that,
don't click, baby.
When he gets like
3,
that,
he's 3. That's enough.
When he gets like that,
Luka and Shea
I think a lot of people would agree.
Luka and Shea are still better than Jalen Brunson holistically.
We're not gonna keep going down this road.
I won't. I refuse to.
We're not gonna keep going.
I refuse to.
Okay. Keep going. Keep going.
I refuse to. OG, I think, is going to be super big in this series, though, especially if they just simply want to close out Detroit in 5-6, maybe, if I'm being generous. The play of OG Anunoby offensively, because we know what he's going to give you defensively.
Right.
Offensively, he's going to have to come out scoring 20 a game, and he did that. He scored 23. Obviously, he didn't shoot super efficient, 8 of 18. I mean, that's still not horrible.
It's not horrible, but you gotta look at what other people are doing out there. Man.
Absolutely, but I think
Cat gives you 71%.
Absolutely,
shooting lights out, still gives you a double. I think if he doesn't do that, they also are not, because you got to look at this. This game was a little weird, at least from the start.
I think it was definitely a fill-out
started
game.
Off terrible. Like in that first quarter, I don't know how many times, at least this season, I have seen, even in the regular season, where Cade just started off.
Cade tried working in the mid-range too, which was quite interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like towards the later side of the game, he started kind of heating up, but it wasn't enough. Like it was like he could have had a 30 ball if he simply just was starting off a little good.
It wasn't. I totally agree. I think, you know what play did really, it gave me a lot of promise for Detroit, actually. Tobias Harris dropping 25 points on efficient shooting.
Yep.
You know who he looked like out there in the Garden?
Josh Smith. My bad.
He looked like Melo.
Whoa.
I'm not saying he plays like Melo at all.
Yes, you just said that.
The mid-range, he was getting in the post, hitting the fade consistently.
He was
on good defense. And for him to be the vet of that team, because obviously he's the vet. There's maybe you could say Tim Hardaway Jr.
No, I think they got a couple of vets.
Tobias Harris, if he can have another game like that, Cade Cunningham maybe feels the ropes out a little bit. You have a series that can easily go to 7 games again. But I think just right now, the Knicks just overwhelm them with obviously Cat, Brunson, OG, the hustle and the tenacity of Josh Hart, who he might have an 8-8 game, but the impact it was. You know,
impact. You know how I kind of want to see. It's not just one player from Detroit. I think their big man could, and I think they were just very focused on the defensive side, that they weren't able to kind of focus on giving you a little bit of points. I think Durant, and that's what I don't really know about Stewart. I guess it's a little tough to talk about offensive, but I think at least Durant can give you a little bit more, because like he shot good percentage, but he just didn't shoot that ball. Like he genuinely was so focused on the other side.
Isaiah Stewart is the Dylan Brooks of Dennis Rodman's. See what I just did there? That was good.
Nah, he's like the Dennis Rodman of like the Metal World Peace or something like that.
No, Metal World Peace was tough. Don't do that. Ron Artest was tough.
Ron Artest was tough, but he also liked to fight a lot. So.
Ron Artest was tough.
He has mental problems. He just likes fighting anyways. He don't even like playing basketball. These other people like playing basketball. Like Dennis, he at least like to play basketball.
I guess.
I don't think he like to play basketball. I think he's like to fight.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's true. So obviously, you want to see more from those players like Isaiah Stewart,
right,
and whatnot. So where do you see this series going?
If Detroit can pick it up, because mind you, this is Cade's first time. Like this is like a like sort of like a little boy in a big, at least Madison Square Garden. Like that's somewhere big to start off your first one at. So if they pick it back up, I would say possibly 7. If not, Knicks could possibly take this in 5 or 6. I know that sounding crazy after how historical Detroit season was. That first game kind of shook me up a little bit. I think I just want to see a little bit more from the actual team. That's all.
I understand that one. Now, moving on to an interesting one, because the game is on right now. And obviously this episode is going to come out. That game's going to be over with. So we
Right.
could be making a crazy bold prediction right here.
do
Orlando
it.
18, Boston 26. Because we don't know really what they're given right now. How do you think that series is going to go? Who's going to be the impact player?
Shock. I think this is gonna be like a shocker series. Like I'm not gonna say
Whoa.
I'm not gonna say pause. I'm not gonna cliff farm. I'm not gonna say Magic about to win. Let Wagner get a little comfortable like he did last year. Let Paolo get a little comfortable. Like honestly, I say except for the Cavs, nobody else size wise at least matches up with Boston better than us, except for Orlando. Nobody else.
Okay.
I think you still got KCP who can knock down a shot. Paolo, I think he gonna do what he gotta do. I'm looking at the stats right now. The game is 18-26. He already got 7-2. Like I think we gonna have to just see. I think if he turns up, Wagner turns up. You still got Carter, who's a big man. Let's see what they can do. I mean,
I like
it
that.
can be a fun series. What you think? I don't like that face you're giving. What you think? Is this about to be like a 5 and 4?
Celtics in 5.
Yeah.
And I think this is the game that I think, like you said, the score is kind of whatever right now. 8. They're up 8 like they're supposed to be. I don't think this is going to be the game that they take. I think maybe a game 3 or 4 at home back against the wall. And I think Boston's just going to wrap it up in a cute little bow after that. Just talent. They just overwhelm them.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, yeah, size don't matter, man. Pause. Sometimes it don't. It's about the way the team is. Let's ask
the question though. Like I know, actually we saw who got the Finals MVP. Who is their main guy right now? Who's their guy?
I think you still have to say Jason Tatum because the ball just naturally flows through him more than Jaylen Brown. I think the all around play of Jason Tatum trumps the scoring that you're going to need from Jaylen Brown because I think he's more so going to be a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum, his everything, his rebounding, his passing. When he was driving to the lane 2 years back, we were saying this might be the next LeBron.
No, I would say 2 years back. I think
when he dunked
a
on him
before.
Yeah, when he dunked on him, when he dunked on Braun, that's when they
2 years
said.
back. You know, Tatum look here now in the league. That was definitely 2018 or 2017. I think if he does start driving again like he used to, and doesn't
like
think that he's 6'3" and actually drives, that's where
his three ball is actually what has lost them games. Is him jacking up that?
I won't say just him. Boston alone dropping 63s
a game
is
it's crazy. But that's the Missoula approach, and they've won by it. So why would you change it now? Just saying. Orlando's making a game out of it now. Don't matter though. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what we're talking.
I'm gonna say Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown is one of still the best two-way players in the league. He is.
I agree with that.
He can defend really good.
That's fine.
He's still, to me, I don't know, because I think they're both so smooth. Like when JT is knocking shots right now, like he's
But the craziest thing is, we say these about these two players, right? I tell you right now, Drew Holiday or Derek White out for the playoffs. Everything's changing now.
Of course. But I think it's with those two. But like their team is still very good. Like you look at how much Porzingis was out last year.
But to
they
lose one of those,
do so much.
I think their front court's going to be a lot more important than you think.
Of course. That's Drew Holiday and Derek White. Even if they lost Pritchard, I think that was still like effective. Like, yeah, it would. Yeah. It definitely would.
They lost Al Horford. They're such on a team high right now because they play so good as a team. You take one of them out, you have to plug in somebody else for 25 minutes, 30 maybe. Oof. I think that'll mess up a lot for him.
I don't know. I feel like they're, as much as I despise Boston, they're always kind of good whenever an injury comes up. Like I think even like if one player went out, Derek White would almost not necessarily stop his scoring, but he would. I don't think you understand how much focus he would get on defense. Like he can fill in at least some roles if Drew was to go out for a game or two or something like that. Now, if it's an injury where I'm out for a full just couple series, that's what's like damn, like what are we gonna do now?
So obviously moving on, we've covered We've covered New York. We've covered Boston.
I want to get into a special one. I'm not gonna lie. I want to get into that Clippers and
I'll let you take it. Go ahead.
Clippers and Nuggets.
Pause.
That to me, out of the full games that we've watched, I think obviously we still got
Couple more.
Boston and obviously my Cavs play. Out of all the other games that we've watched, that Denver and Clippers series
It was the best game.
That was the best game.
It was.
That was and I know that you were excited because man, Russ. I mean, mind you, yo gonna do his thing every time, but Russ he
made
was
some huge plays.
he was talking a little crazy.
He made some huge plays though in a game where James Harden scored 32 with 11 assists.
James Harden's
really,
left hand.
He really looked like the James Harden of Houston.
James Harden's left hand,
which is going to be a big problem for Denver, I think.
Oh man,
if he can continue to sustain this level of play, which he has proven that he cannot in the playoffs. I know Denver just won that OT game. How long can they ride that high? It's all gonna matter on what gives first. James Harden or Jamal Murray. Because Jamal obviously had an okay game. He dropped 21.
You're talking about two completely different players. Michael Porter Jr., wake the hell up. Michael Porter Jr., wake up.
I'm absolutely. But I still...
Man had 3 points. There's no way another game he goes doing it. As much as the scorer he is, there's no way.
And I totally understand. Like but he only had 4 field goal attempts.
That's the whole point. There was something wrong with him. No, there was something simply that was just on his mind or something. That's when the player he don't even look to pass the ball. He gets the ball to shoot.
I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. I just think Jamal being out for so long, getting that 2-man game, I think Jamal needs to integrate a little better. I mean, obviously he had a near let's say close to triple-double.
Again,
but on the 7 for 20 shooting, that's not my favorite.
I feel you. 3 points.
Absolutely.
3 and 4. Like not like 3 and 4. No assists.
I would be a lot more upset if Michael Porter Jr. shot 2 for 13 than 1 for 4. Yeah. He only got 4
chances to shoot the ball. I will say this. Coach was very smart to take him out the game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that coach I think he had already some pretty good chemistry with the team where he can actually do that, where they trust him enough to know that he's making the right decision.
And subbing in Russ in his spot was probably the best thing they could have done.
Very smart.
It gave them a perfect amount of defense, physicality, and oh boy, when he launched that 3.
I mean,
gave him that 3-point shooting,
and the passes that Yoke was giving him too was like dropping dimes.
We can't kid ourselves. He shot 29% from the field, but boy, those shots at the time they came in and the defense at which time they came in, Russell Westbrook was the most clutch player last night, in my opinion. I really think he was.
I think it's one thing. I think people have so much hate for Russ that it be pissing me off sometimes. Like I think the commentators they said something where it was I think it was probably like right before he hit that big 3, and he had like 2 plays back to back where he had just ran straight to the rim, and I think he had missed both of them, but the second one it was like really off, and they were like, "Man, I love Russ, but sometimes he's so indecisive with his decisions," and I was like, "No way!" 30 seconds later, he hits the shot, silence, pure like they
can't say anything,
pure silence.
Absolutely, he was clutch. I think Aaron Gordon also had a pretty big game, 25, which is going to be big in that series.
I don't know about much. That to me was possibly the most clutch player last night. The boards that he got in the last 3 minutes of that game, that was clutch. That was clutch.
I would agree with you. Now, one player I do want to touch base on in this series is not Kawhi, Ivica Zubac. Zubac obviously had a huge game.
That's because Zubac has been a top 5 center in the past 3 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. He's been a top 5 center in the past 3 months.
I don't hate that take.
We know this. Yeah.
I don't hate that take. Can Zubac sustain this level of play? And where do you see this series going?
I think he can. Series like this series is one that can go to 7. Because I think Kawhi, no matter if he's in his prime or not, he still can get to wherever he wants. Still one of the best players to me in the league. Whenever he's healthy, at least he's still one of the best players in the league.
Who takes game 2 tomorrow, which for them it'll probably be the day of. So tonight for you guys, while probably watching the pod, where do they get that?
Denver by 7 points.
Denver by 7. So Denver wins comfortably in regulation. I like that. I'm not
I
totally
wouldn't
mad
say
at
that's
that.
that's that comfortable. Like that's where they're still foul and see what can happen.
Absolutely.
Never by 7. Never
I
by
like that.
7. James Harden will still light you up. I'm telling you, like that left hand is that's deadly. that is deadly. Also, mind you, they did take a little triple double away from Yoke. I don't know if you saw that. They
I
like
did not see that.
he had 29, 10, and 12. Took away his rebound with a minute left to go in the game. Apparently, they said because it was a little tip out, they said it didn't count. Sucks because I feel like they give it to a lot of other people like whenever they get a little tip out, but they took it away from. Would have been another triple double in playoffs. I think would have been like his 20th in the playoffs, which is
Very impressive.
insane for his resume. Obviously, at the age
It
of
is.
what is he, 29, 28? It's pretty insane for his resume.
It is.
Good
Absolutely.
game though. Good game. That was to me the most exciting game to me.
I would totally agree, and it's going to be a very interesting series, and we'll have to see where that one goes. Now we got to launch into a game which just happened. Number 8 Memphis takes on number 1 OKC. Game 1 has just concluded. I want to say maybe 40 minutes ago. What did you make of that? What did you make of the first game?
Not asking me.
131.
What did you make out of that? Yeah.
It was a good first start. It definitely showed that OKC definitely benefited off of that long rest that they took of a week of not playing basketball. They definitely benefited from it. We thought there would be some rust in the first game, but there wasn't.
OKC in 3.
Wow.
I think that Memphis forfeits their 4th game.
I think for Shea to shoot poorly from the field today and still win by 50.
There's nothing to laugh about, bro. I'm just saying, bro.
And win by
Memphis,
50.
dog. No, stop. Be goddamn ashamed of yourself. Memphis. What was the score, Dame?
131 to 80.
Do the math real quick.
That's 51.
131.
That's 51. Could have lined up Chet. You could have lined up Chet and Jalen Williams. Shot him firing squad right there.
Yeah, you could have
they
had
still
your
would have won.
mascot out there for the full 4th quarter. Y'all would have still won by 40 plus.
Yeah. It was definitely a good game.
Oh,
I like seeing. I think the bench playing those last 3 games of the regular season, heavy minutes, it really benefited. And I'm so happy for them that it did, because you see guys like Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, guys who've started at points in time in this
Look, I'm
season.
gonna give you a little test. Don't even look at the stats or nothing like that. What do you think is the starter and what do you think is the bench? 8 points, 5 points, 17 points, 5 points, and 3 points. It's a set of 5. The other 5, 17, 2, 4, 4, and 9. Who's the starter and who's the bench out of those?
Bench
two
was the
categories?
last one.
That's nice. That was their starting group. I'm being real honest. Desmond Bain, 9 points. Aaron Jackson, 4 points. Edie, because all he knows how to do is just fling his arms and try to dunk every time.
Yeah, I really
4 points.
Can I be honest? And that's one thing in the series that people presented about Zach Edey being a potential threat. I think Zach Edey is the worst starting center in the NBA.
Very crazy take.
I think
because he had some good moments.
And I'm glad he had some good moments being 7-3. And the reason why we're like, oh, well, there's a lot of other players. The difference with Zach Edey that makes him an asset.
Let's stop this.
Is because he's 7-3 and also weighs a lot of mass.
Oh, you remember in the Golden State game where he had three
of
plays back?
Do you know
to
how many
back?
times Draymond ripped him?
Bro, no, not even that, bro. Post is up there literally just putting body. Like, all you have to do is jump up with 2 hands so you don't get a foul. And he's most like
missing
he
it.
Tries to jump. Say that this is like the hoop. He tries to jump from right here and just flail his arms and think he's gonna dunk every time and misses bad. Like
it's ridiculous.
Miss that bad.
It's ridiculous. So I think OKC really benefited off of their 2 bigs, Chet and Hartenstein, just overwhelming Zach Edey, who has low basketball IQ.
Overwhelming everybody. Ja Morant had 17 points. Like that's you being you're overwhelmed. You're under stress. Like there's nothing that you can do. Not even that. You're getting defended so crazy, and they're still one of the best offensive teams in the league.
OKC at one point was up by, I want to say it was 35, and at the beginning of possession, they were covering 94 feet. From full court all the way down, and they actually got a steal on one possession.
Not even that. You want to know who impressed me a lot? Alex Caruso, because he came in. I don't even know if he took a shot. Being real, I don't think I saw him actually shoot the ball.
his passing and
He
defense.
came in for straight defense. I passed it too, I guess, if you want.
To pick up Jaren Jackson
That's
at
what
the
I'm saying,
20-foot line and force a pass out into a
I'm
bad
pretty sure
shot.
1 through 5. That like in the game, I'm pretty sure I saw him guard every position. I'm pretty sure.
That's crucial. That was the difference maker that OKC wanted. They wanted a veteran who's been there, who's won a championship,
Right.
who contributed, and that's what he did. And I think he was actually the guy who probably gave those guys the message. Listen,
And you look at the talent that their bench players even got. Like you have Wiggins that got 26 valuable minutes. Like that's not just throwaway. I mean, guess you can call it throwaway, but when you get over 20, I don't think you can even call it throwaway. Like that's like you just get a minute.
you were just in the game.
15 for Williams. You still got Joe who gets
Memphis
his minutes,
allowed
like,
the game to have throwaway time.
Yeah.
Memphis, it was one of the biggest embarrassments in a playoff game ever that we've seen in recent memory.
Not even that.
They just seemed unmotivated and tired, which I think is from the play-in. Which, listen, I'm not giving them an excuse. I think
I feel
OKC is just genuinely more talented than them.
It would have been this way either way.
Orlando. Oh no!
Don't do that.
Sorry.
It would have been this way either way. But
Yeah,
you also got like bro, Wallace had 2 points. Them 2 points was on somebody's head, bro. That was only on somebody's head top.
a dunk.
Like everybody's points somehow just seemed like it was a exclamation mark, bro. It
But
hurts.
I think too the play of Jalen Williams is going to be huge for OKC if they want to even scratch the Western Conference Finals. Jalen Williams will have to perform at a high level. We're talking how he played today is comparable of what we should get, maybe even a little more. I just think he's gonna have to take that stress off of SGA, who played atrocious today, by the way. He shot horrendously. At one point of the game, he was 1 for 12.
Yeah. And guess what? They won by 50.
And they win by 50, which Memphis should be sitting back saying, oh no. And OKC should be sitting back saying, we can win like that? Without Shea scoring a high level of points and without Shea playing, I don't even think he touched the court in the fourth.
Didn't have to. Like
Didn't
dog,
have to.
every single number
If it's
is better.
going to be like that.
Outboarded them, doubled their assists by 2, almost doubled their steals by 2, doubled their blocks by 2.
Shut them out in fast break points. I don't think Memphis had one fast break point.
They also shot 17% from the 3-point. Not like you guys shot good. You all shot 35%. It just simply was still somehow doubled. It's like everything that they did.
I think 10 of those
doubled
threes
it.
are garbage time threes.
Doesn't
as well.
matter. Doesn't even matter. They shot
Of course.
17%. They could have did the same thing with their garbage time.
They could have. And something that really confused me is that Luke Kennard didn't get much minutes.
Yeah.
Why is Luke Kennard the best 3-point shooter on your team, a top 10 in the league in percentage, minimum 300 attempts? And he's not. You're telling me he's not getting a crack in the in this in at least second quarter minutes. I mean, that's where you're struggling. They're clamping.
I think that after it got so bad, they let it go. And also their coach, I think, is a little also. I'm not gonna say
he's not mentally there.
Yeah, I don't think
he's not ready for that moment. And I think firing Jenkins was stupid.
It was
because I think the difference with them firing Malone, Adelman's been there for the chip and everything. He has a little more experience.
The other dude was there too. Like he was still there. He just isn't. I don't think it's the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. I don't think that he had that connection. No. Like
it's a parade inside my city. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that intern, like he still had a good connection with Yoke. Like I've seen Yoke still like tossing like that. Like he obviously had some type of connection with him. So
yeah, but I can't even tell you who took Jenkins' spot in Memphis. Yeah. I don't know his name.
Dude with the red hair. That's all I got.
Exactly. That's my point. Because we sit here, we know David Adelman because we have some pedigree under Mike Malone's collar. Bro,
forget all of that, bro. Are we ready to talk about Jaden McDaniels' legacy game?
Jaden McDaniels' legacy game. Yeah.
Are we ready, bro?
We'll step into that. You want to step into that because that's the team that people think Denver's gonna play potentially if they beat OKC. Lakers, Minnesota. Jaden McDaniels. Now get this.
Tell him what I called you for last night, bro. Pause.
What did you call me for?
Try to take him shopping. Tell him what I called you for real, bro. My bad, bro.
He called me about the game. Unfortunately for me, I was actually dozing off because the game was the game was simply starting to get out of hand. That I was wowed.
Once I saw Dante hit that shot at halftime,
I was
I
like,
knew
yeah,
it
this
was
might
up.
be done. I was like, yeah. I said this might be done.
Oh man,
117.95. Anthony Edwards only having a mere 22 points. Now,
shot
almost having
36%, bro. You wanna know why?
to be fair, almost a triple double though. We have to show him love in that respect.
Bro, Jaden McDaniels was again legacy game, bro.
27 points on extremely efficient shooting. 11 for 13. Jaden McDaniels.
Bro didn't even miss a three either. Bro, he don't even shoot threes like that, bro.
What did you see from from Minnesota that just overwhelmed the Lakers? Like, what did you see?
Dog, their size. I think even after that first quarter, because I think potential. I don't know. Well, yeah, potentially that may be the best at least start you'll get from Luka. Like he still gave you 37. I don't know if that's the best. Well, that could potentially be the best game you at least gonna get from Luka. I'm not gonna say the best game you get from Bron, but that's the best game you may get from Luka. And he started out hot, and they figured out very quick let him score. I guess let him do what he has to do. Nobody else was doing anything else. Everybody else was just watching.
Do you think this game, Luka Doncic's defense was officially exposed playoff wise?
It's always exposed. I think every playoffs, even because the only thing is that usually when he was on the Mavs, he somehow was just dropping 50 almost every game, so we didn't really care.
I think also the Mavs had a way better defensively built team.
Yeah, his
with
defense
lively
always
Gafford,
gets
it was a lot
exposed, though.
different.
It gets exposed almost every year.
Of course. Now, do you think obviously Luka had a huge game, 37 points. LeBron, MIA, he had 19, but it didn't look pretty. What does LeBron have to do in order to get his Lakers? Because I still think this is LeBron's team, believe it or not.
He's got to be more aggressive. That was a 40-year-old playing playoff basketball. We need to see like a 36-year-old Bron right now, which that we've been seeing since December.
So you think age is starting to settle in now?
Don't do that.
It's just a question.
I just said what
I mean,
I
if you're
saw.
gonna bring that up, I genuinely
just
think
said what I saw. Watch your mouth.
LeBron is notorious for losing game ones and then winning the series.
And then I say what happens.
So I think it's definitely a feel out game. I do think that size, that Minnesota brings to the Lakers, it could overwhelm them, and I think Minnesota may take it in 6.
Nas Reed,
exactly, and not when you have Nas Reed coming off the bench with 23 points on efficient shooting as well. It almost who's guarding him? Jackson Hayes. And no disrespect to Jared Vanderbilt, but Jared Vanderbilt cannot guard the 5. He cannot. We can't have him guarding the 5. He needs to be guarding the best offensive player because he's your best perimeter defender as well. So, I think the size is definitely going to present challenges. To your point, Dante DiVincenzo hit that little lollipop 3.
That was a nut 3, but it
was ready to
just
go.
It
was that type of game.
Yeah.
It was that type of game. Do I think the games are going to be a little closer? Yeah,
I think so. Because also, you look at how they came out after that. I think that shot from Dante, it just was like a game changer. Even when it came out to halftime, they went on I think it was like a 15-0 run in that game. Ended up being like 70-48 after that. Like that means something because right there, any team right now in today's league, you got to be about almost 30 points for you to really call it game. Because they still base almost came back. But
absolutely.
It was too much.
Too much, and Luka's defense is just so not. There's nothing. It's non-existent. So, I think honestly, if I'm a guy in the playoffs, that's my goal. I'm gonna make Luka play defense. I'm gonna score on him. I'm gonna make him tired, and then when he starts shooting those threes and they start coming up short, it's working.
Yeah,
that's what my plan would be. I really don't have there's no.
Which I think that was almost their plan a little bit. Also,
a little bit, yeah.
Worked because I think after that first quarter. Like I said, because I think he had 16. Not saying that he played bad after, but it definitely just slowed down over the course. It wasn't just straight back to back to back where it was affecting him. Because at first I thought watching Luka score that many points, I didn't know where that game was going. That looked like it could have been a Lakers game in that first couple of minutes. And then once he got tired and got out the game, Minnesota simply just took over. They just took over.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can't stress enough to Rudy Gobert how important he is to his team in this series. With the absence of a real big in LA, sorry, Jackson Hayes is not good. He's athletic. He can get you some highlights.
He's very athletic,
and that's it. His IQ's simply not that.
I
really think Rudy can take advantage of this, and he needs to.
I think in the beginning though, Jackson Hayes was pulling out some crazy boards. His
Of
boards
course.
were like it was
I'm
something
not
that he
saying he's
was
not
like
an
hustling
I'm
for.
not saying that he's not
He just
an NBA
he
caliber
not gonna
player.
shoot no like
He's a bottom tier
nitty.
center in the
Yeah.
league. He's a bottom tier. He's a top
I
tier
gotta see your
dunking
tier
center.
list. I gotta see your tier list. Because who else did you say earlier was a low tier center? Just somebody else too.
Who did I say?
You said
I said Zach Edey was horrible.
Oh, Zach Edey. Yeah, I gotta see your.
I think he's
see your
not
tier
good.
list. I see your
But
tier
that's
list.
just
Like,
my
are you
opinion.
just going on like the current teams right now, like current starting centers?
Yeah, like they're starting right now. Not like
I
I
need-
started 15 games. No,
I need a tier list. Yeah, I need a tier list. Okay.
we'll do that later. But last game tonight.
This one gonna be excited too.
Game will be over with, obviously, by the time they see this. Houston Golden State 7-2. That's gonna be a bomb fest.
I think that's because like we said, the West was so close. That's gonna be almost similar to Minnesota and Lakers, where it can go either way. One team could blow out the other one, or
Yeah.
because obviously you look at the Warriors, has like
Steph. But Steph is just playing at such a high level.
Steph, Jimmy, Pod. I think Pod's even at
Pod's starting to come
I
up.
wasn't that much of a fan in the beginning of the season because I think he was doing a little too much, but now I think he found his role. He found what he needs to do on the court.
And of course we can
And you know
we
what's
can never
happening with
forget Kuminga.
He weird, but real talk. What's happening with Kuminga? Like honestly,
He's gonna have to stop. He could be huge. Like he could be.
when is he gonna play though? Just asking.
I mean, right
Because the bad thing, I won't say a big fan of Steve Kerr. I think he's gotten some leeways, but when he likes a lineup, he's very hesitant to try something else. At least in the playoffs, he will run with that lineup unless something really has to just change. Like if he sees something where like there's just this isn't matching up size wise, or maybe post gets a little tired too much, or anything like that against like the power forwards in the center role, maybe you'll see him come in. But for now, I think with him liking this lineup, he may not try anything new, at least for the moment.
Now, obviously, the last time Houston and Golden State played, Houston won 106-96 in a game where Şengün had 19 and 14. Now, in a series where a big is not really existent for Golden State, I mean, you got guys like Looney, who's a competent rebounder, but when you really have no true big, where do you see Şengün thriving in this series? Do you see him taking over, or do you see somebody else stepping up for the Rockets?
He has to. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago, and we said we were talking about Draymond when we were talking about the defensive player of the year, and we were talking about how he defends Jokic. And I said, how do you think he defends Şengün? And I think you said, I don't think that's the same. How's that not the same? I feel that's very similar, at least for right. You're about to see, at least in this playoffs, this is about to be a unicorn breakout series for Şengün.
Wow.
This will be a unicorn, like, I don't think about, Jokic triple-double every game, but
we're talking 19 and 14 is what we should come to see. And I think something that's going to be big for Houston if they want to win this series is Amen Thompson. I'll tell you that. Amen Thompson, he's so athletic. I've never seen. He's such a high-level defender for
his defense.
His
defenses,
and he's starting to come up with the shot. Starting to come up with it. He's already been, in my opinion, he's a great driver anyway. But he's starting to get the shot going. Do you see him potentially taking over a game or two to wield Houston?
I don't know about taking over a game. I think he's just going to be a big piece in almost every game. I think surrounding the team, he will fit in his role very good, and I think he will possibly be their main defender. I think whoever, I don't know if he's going to guard Steph as much, but he'll pick him up a couple times. He definitely will switch off a couple of times. I'll say that. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know about taking over a game, but
who wins the series?
Rockets. I feel like, I don't know, when I look at him, I just so young against Steph. Steph and Jimmy.
But it's so much.
Steph and Jimmy and Dre.
But it's so much on that other side.
Need to do post.
Jabari, Steven Adams is better than any center on the Warriors. Dylan
What's
Brooks.
the odds, man? What's the odds?
I said Dylan Brooks. Yeah, I said that.
Dylan Brooks had no problem. What's the odds?
Vegas odds right now? Man, I couldn't even tell you. I'll look it up right now. But why? Who do you lean towards?
I feel like I'm leaning towards the Warriors, but I mean, is that crazy? You got to think about it, dog. They were literally just 6, right?
I feel you. I guess.
They were like 1 or 2 games behind them, honestly.
You know the odds are not popping up right now.
Really,
Odds.
they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know because but
Wow, the minus 119 Houston, minus 101 Golden State.
Oh snap! Oh,
who do you got? Come on, right now, betting men.
It's going to 7.
Steph game 7. He's giving
Warriors. Yeah, Warriors.
Wow,
Games, yeah.
Steph game 7.
I don't think Steph gonna let it go. I just don't think Steph gonna let it go. I don't
won.
know why.
Wow.
I just can't see Steph letting it go like that. I don't know.
Wow, that is crazy. Okay, I like where you went there. So one last thing I want to touch base with you about this series is Jalen Green, who's been inconsistent for most of the series. Could he step up into a big role?
He has 135 or 40-point game, and I think that's it. I think all the other games, little 22, 20, 26, 20, some slight. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I think if anything really was to happen, this is where we generally look at Sengun. Like, what are we looking at right now? I'm being so.
That he takes over and they run away.
I know he's not as fast or maybe athletic, but I think Jokic has shown a new type of body build to a lot of players, and Sengun is one of the first prototypes that we have seen from a Jokic.
Of course.
I think so.
Also, Orlando's winning right now at half.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. You know what? That's why I'm going to wrap up this episode because we got to go watch ball now.
I want to go watch ball.
We missed it. We missed the game for this.
Where's my dogs at? Hold on.
Are we doing this?
Where's my dogs at? I just want to say
we took a dub.
Cavs
today.
Cavs in 4.
Come on now.
Cavs in 4. I know I said 5 earlier. I was trying to be generous for the episode. Cavs in 4. Miami.
Man, quit playing.
Miami.
Quit playing.
Welcome back to Get Back, man.
Get Back, episode 6. You were wrong last episode.
No, I wasn't.